Car chat. It's time for car chat. We need to have a chat. Look. I've been thinking about this since last night. I was reading the book of Isaiah, and I started with chapter 64, but I ended up going all the way 844. I'm seeing 844. I went all the way back to chapter 60 in the book of Isaiah, and I read it again, all the way to the end. And it dawned on me, because starting at chapter 60, there is a very strong correlation to the story of Hathor and Sekhmet, and how Ra sets Hathor on a mission to punish the humans because they're being bad, and unleashes Sekhmet. And Hathor, the peaceful cow, turns into Ra's war machine, the lion. And so I'm reading the book of Isaiah, chapter 60 to 64, which is 66 is the last chapter. And it's that story. So then I got to thinking about how Isaiah... Okay, so there's a collective remembering of archetypes. Like, deep in our subconscious, we know these archetypes. But we can only tell the story of these archetypes through the lens in which we are currently viewing. Right? And then I was thinking, well, this window is going to piss me off. Then I was thinking, well, how consciousness can't observe itself. Like the eye can't actually look at itself unless you take it out and put it in front of the other eye, and then it can observe itself, or through a mirror. So that's why consciousness fractalizes into different expressions through each of us, through the archetypes, so that way we're able to look at it, because that's what we are. We're mirrors for consciousness. I think that some people go through these like profound miracles that happen to them in their lives, like these incredible miracles, and they develop a kind of spiritual psychosis, and they get stuck thinking that spirituality, or what we perceive spirituality to be, is like one rigid thought point, one rigid thing. We were created to be bodies to house the Creator. What kind of temple will you build for me? Is in the book of Isaiah. What kind of temple? And then you go into the New Testament, and Jesus literally says, you are the temple. So what kind of mindset are you going to build to house the consciousness? We all are born with the the God consciousness. But we come down to earth into these physical bodies and we forget because of the density that we're in. Like the physical, what you might call the 3D, is so heavy that it's easy for consciousness to forget itself. But consciousness, people talk about, the light entities and the dark entities. It's bullshit. It's all about your perception, what you're perceiving as dark, because consciousness is just a quantum energy that is born into these physical bodies. And consciousness as an energy is not good or bad. I mean, there is a set of rules that it has for itself, and there's, laws that govern the waking up of this consciousness to bring it forth into existence in our lives. But getting stuck in these rigid thought structures and these archetypal stories, like, do you really fucking think that Atlantis was real? Plato was a philosopher. Philosophers tell stories to speak to the consciousness of mankind. Atlantis was a construct. Just like Genesis is a construct. Just like the concept of God is a construct. It is a way for us to remember. And humans develop these constructs all the time. Satan isn't a literal entity out there in the world. But if you believe that Satan is an actual entity, then your brain will constantly look for proof to show you that that is a true belief. And because our brains have the capacity to do that, a lot of people get stuck looping in these cycles because they have such a rigid mindset that is immovable. And we have to, in order to be able to be in flow, we have to adapt. We have to be able to adapt. Our consciousness was born into these bodies to create new thoughts, create inventions, create friendships, create. Every decision that we make is a creation, a manifestation. All of it so that we can remember who we are, that we are God embodied. It's no different than what Jesus was trying to teach. Yes, he was born with the Christ consciousness. But what happened in those first 30 years of his life to get him to the thought process that he had, that he was able to teach people? What did he go through? His mother was raised in the temple. And his father was a carpenter. A humble carpenter. So he was raised and brought up with an emotional and spiritual awareness that is blocked from all of us today. And it was back then. The story repeats and tells itself over and over and over and over again. And it's our job as the awakened ones to help people. So I guess the message for today, because I got in the car and I was thinking about the mirror, because I just posted on TikTok a couple of cards with the song Through the Glass by Stone Sour. And You have to get out of your rigid mindset, and you have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to become the observer. And being the observer means that you adapt, because you have to see things through the eyes of other people. Okay. Car chat's over. Happy Friday. I'll catch y'all on the next one.